Hey, there's
Hey,
Cronin.
wait, there's Tommy Shaw
Hey, wait a
on
minute.
my iPad.
You got my guitar. What's going
Here,
on
take
here?
mine.
Here, let's
We can
switch.
trade.
All right.
I would venture to say that that mine is more beat to shit than yours.
I don't know.
Look at that. Oh, yours is pretty bad. All right, that's good.
This is what you call belt buckle rash, y'all.
Belt buckle rash, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, right down here. That's it. But I love this guitar, man. These guitars, and the top of this. Oh yeah, nice.
Where did that come? Yeah, that's some other kind of rash.
Yeah, I don't know what that is.
Yeah.
I don't want to get my guitar too close to your guitar.
That's right in my lap too. It's probably more afraid of me than I am it.
So man, yeah, this is performing at this point, man. It's like in your house, and you know that's where we got to be. So got to make the best of it, right?
Yeah, I know. I was saying before we started here, I washed my hair today because it would have scared the children had they seen what was going on with mine.
That's just the kind of guy you are, Tommy, and we all appreciate that. You know?
Jeannie shamed me in the kitchen this morning. She said, "Have you seen the back of your head?" And it was just permanently like that. Like, yeah.
Hey man, we don't have to look at the back of our head, so you know.
I know. Oh well, it's clean now, so enjoy it.
Yeah, me too.
I'd have to in a couple of weeks.
I think it's good for your hair to not get washed for a couple of weeks. Lets it really, you know, keep the soul in there, you know, somehow.
Yeah, I know. Well, mine was so full. I wish we could.
So,
I wish there was you know, the technology was so that there wasn't any kind of, you know, latency thing so you could play and sing together like this.
I know. Wait, so if I were to count down to 4 and play an A chord and you heard that count and played, we would not be in sync? Is that the?
Oh, let's try it. Let's demonstrate how scary it might be.
All right. How about something like Johnny Be Good in A, just to go with something pretty basic.
All right. You got it off.
All right, ready? 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, you know, you're about I felt like you were about a quarter note behind me. It kind of sounded like delay echo.
Yes. Very hard to follow. You can do it.
Well, that ain't gonna work.
We're down in Louisiana, close to New Orleans.
Down around the wood by the evergreens.
Every log cabin made of earth and wood.
Lived a country boy named Johnny Be Good.
He never ever learned to read or write so well.
He could play the guitar just like a ringing a bell. Go, go.
Go, Johnny, go, go. Ready? Go,
Go, go, go. Go, Johnny, go, go.
Go, Johnny, go, go.
Johnny Be Good. He used to carry his guitar in a gunny sack.
At the railroad tracks.
Strumming his guitar sitting in the shade. Rhythm let it dry. All right. Maybe someday his name would be in lights.
Johnny Be Good tonight. Go, 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 go.
Go, Johnny, go, go.
Go, Johnny, go, go.
Go, Johnny, go, go, go.
As you go, go.
Johnny Be Good.
Them boys sound like they've been hitting the liquor cabinet.
Wait, and the problem is that there are probably going to be people recording this and playing that back and just,
These guys.
Hey, we did our best, man. We're trying to make the best of this situation. We got to stay home. You know, I'm 6 feet away from the video screen here, so I think you and I are safe, you know. Man, all right, so between you and Jeannie, who is the designated grocery store shopper?
Jeannie has volunteered to be that.
Wow, you're a lucky man.
Yes. Well, I've always been the worst grocery. I go into a grocery store. I can be in there for an hour. I'll come out with like a magazine, and it's like I don't know what to get.
Yeah. See, I've been the designated grocery store guy. I used to go there with my daughter, and became kind of a thing that we did. So I know, you know, all the checkout people, everybody in the store, and it never, in the 23 years that I've been going to this grocery store, I never considered them as being, you know, necessarily courageous. You know, it's working in the grocery store is pretty safe bet. But over the past month or so, man, every time I go to the store, I'm like, man, thank you for being here and going to work, because you know, it's like they're putting themselves in harm's way, and it's amazing. I went to the grocery store about 5 days ago, so it's the first time I wore the mask, you know, and there's literally the aisles in the grocery store are one way, and I didn't realize it, so I was going the wrong way down a runway aisle. Man, people were like vibing me out. I couldn't figure it out. Then I looked down, I'm like, oh crap, I'm going the wrong way. Like, it's different.
Yeah, Jeannie had a really bad experience yesterday. She went to this local market down not too far from us. Had the mask on. They had a big sign out front, and you know, social distancing and please wear a mask. And she was doing fine. And she was over by the dairy counter looking for some sour cream. Suddenly, this guy got right up next to her, no mask, and said, "Looking for some sour cream there?" And she was freaked out, and she said, get away from me, you know, and you should have a mask on. And he immediately turns in there and said, fuck off, you know, mind your own business.
Great.
Don't do that to Jeannie Shaw without expecting something back about it.
Oh, yeah.
She, you know, just let him have it.
Yeah.
And,
good.
Yeah. What is wrong with people?
Yeah, I know. I mean, the thing is, if people start behaving that way, then this last 6 weeks will have been a total waste, and it just puts us further away from getting on the other side of this thing, man.
Darwinism at its finest.
Yeah. Oh man.
It's too bad though, but for the most part, I mean, that is a very that hasn't happened. It's the first time anything like that's happened to us.
Yeah.
People have been really, really great around here. There's always an exception.
Yeah, I know. I felt the same thing. I think because, like, you know, we've gone through natural disaster type emergencies here in Southern California. You know, you used to live here during fire season where everybody's, and so you find yourself being united against this natural enemy, but it's a localized thing. This is the entire freaking planet. I mean, we're all, and so what I'm seeing, man, I'm seeing people in general bonding, and people are, you know, friendlier. People are, you know, and you know, God love the people who are really struggling. I mean, there are people in this country that are struggling mightily right now, you know, but you know, I see people going for walks with their family. You know, it's you know, so there is beauty to be found in it, but it's the hardship. It's the people losing their jobs and who are sick. I mean, people are really freaking sick, man. It's
we've got a couple of people in the healthcare business within our STYX family, within the households of a couple of the members of the band.
Yeah, me too.
So God bless them for going out there and being on the front lines of all that. And
yeah,
the things that they're seeing and having to deal with, I don't know how you ever unsee or undeal with that, but that is part of, you know, why people go to medical school and nursing school for so long, to kind of get past all that and get into the solution part of it. And I can't imagine the courage that it takes to be that dedicated and go be there day after day.
I know. It's got to be part of a person's DNA that allows them to get through the education and go through the internships and the ER duties and all that stuff. You got to be a special kind of human being to get. My sister's in the healthcare world, and it's like she goes to work every day. She puts a mask on. She's dealing with older people. That's the clientele there. So, I mean, these people are risking their lives every day, and it's just, and you see it. I see it on television. Just yesterday, I saw an interview with some paramedics, and these people are just slammed. I mean, it's never been so busy, and they're doing it, and they're waking up every morning and walking into the mouth of the beast, so we have a lot to be grateful for.
Yeah, we're going to know a lot more about it in the long run, but right now there's so much information and some disinformation going around, and it's hard to tell one from the other sometimes, and it's hard to tell who's paying attention to what. But we're going to work it out eventually, and
yeah, we will.
I just wonder what life is going to be like on the other side of this.
I swear, I think of the same thing, because I remember after 9/11, when we all had you take your shoes off, put your carry-ons through the machine, and I remember thinking, well, this will probably last for. I wonder how long this will last. Maybe what do you think? 3 months, 4 months? Suddenly. So I think there's going to be new normals after this, just like there were new normals after 9/11. And my gut is that there's going to be more. I actually thought of an idea last night as I was going to sleep, that if you could invent like a transparent mask, so people could actually, because to me, the worst part of having to wear a mask, like when I was at the grocery store, everyone had masks on the other day, and you can't tell if people are smiling. And I always like to see people smiling. And I always think of myself as being someone, if I see somebody and perfect stranger in a grocery store, but I'll smile at them. And if someone smiles back at me, I feel good for that moment. I feel that energy in it. And it's like one of the beauties of life, but everyone with masks, you can't see what their facial expression is. It really kind of affected me. So,
I'll tell you,
see.
Just to run into people that like in our neighborhood, it's a good street to walk on. There's plenty of room to keep distance, and you can walk on the other side of the street from each other. And neighbors who we'd seen before, waved at, and really had never talked to. It's so nice to see them now, and it just came out of my mouth. It's so nice to see you the other day. The lady said, so nice to see you. I was really glad to see them, and I appreciated them being my neighbor, and it has given me a much deeper appreciation for the humanity that's around. That people are actually your neighbors,
Yeah,
that's
I
going
totally
to
feel you. Yeah, I feel you, man.
So I've got questions here that some of our fans. Let's see.
I know, I got some too.
You want to go first?
No, go ahead, man.
Okay. What was the name of the first band you were a part of, such as in middle school or high school?
Take it.
Okay. Mine was called the Vagabonds, Band of the South. At that time, when I was in the 7th grade, bands would have a saying with their name. And ours was Vagabonds, Band of the South. In fact, I carved that into the back of my first guitar, Vagabonds, Band of the South.
That's right. I remember, yeah, on your little calling card, right? I remember when my first band got calling cards, you had to have the name of the band, and like you say, a little something. Man, I can't remember what my little something was. That's great. Band of the South. Woo.
We were both.
Yeah. But I remember seeing you, and you don't remember this because I never actually met you, but back in, it must have been 1975, because I was on my little shall we say, rest from REO Speedwagon for a couple of years. And yeah, hiatus, exactly. Forced hiatus. But I was in Chicago, I'm from Chicago, right? So I'm in Chicago and just, going out to hear some music. And there's an iconic club that people from Chicago would know called the Rush Up. And right on Rush Street, right? So one night I walk up to Rush Up and there's this band playing. And the first thing I noticed was the drummer. Yeah. The drummer had this double bass drum that looked like cannons.
Glass.
Right?
Plexiglass drum.
Yeah. Yeah. And I remember his name was Danny. And whoops.
Hello, Tom.
Oh, there you are. And
put this one for a second. No, I'll hang on to it.
And yeah, and then I'm like, I see this guitar player start to sing, and I'm like, man, these guys are awesome. And I was trying to start a band, and I remember thinking, I gotta get in touch with this dude, And of course it was you, and the band was MS Funk.
Right.
Right.
Yep.
So and then it's a vague memory. And it's the weirdest thing because I'd met this girl and she had left her car in Florida. So she talked me into flying down to Florida with her to pick up her Volkswagen Bug and drive back to Chicago in it. And we were on a red eye, and it was like one of those DC-10s with a big back lounge. There was no one back there except me and her. And I see this guy back there, and I'm like, wait, I think that's the dude from MS Funk. And I don't know if you remember, it was like the middle of the night, and we talked a little bit. I don't remember what we talked about, but it was just like this weird kind of surreal memory. And it wasn't much more than a couple of weeks from then that I think you got the call to join STYX, and I got the call to join back to REO. What's that?
Ran into each other, either getting on a plane or getting off a plane.
Yeah, I remember it like being in the middle of the night or something, and on the airplane.
Well,
but
I remember you were going back to REO, and I was going for the audition for STYX.
Oh, is that what it was?
Might have come from it or something like that.
Yeah.
It was like the 17th of December or something like that.
Yeah, 75-ish, something like that. Yeah.
75.
Hey, so that also answers another question: when the first time we met was. So now we got 2 questions done, checked off.
So you give me one.
All right. So I think there was a question. I'm trying to find him, but okay, here we are. So the number 3 was, of the tours that you guys did together, what's something that stands out? And so there was so much. I mean, I thought about that. There were so many things, but the first thing that came to my mind is, you and I met, at that Craig Shoemaker VH1 game show, right?
Oh, that's right.
Right?
Yeah.
And this is like, what, like 2000s, 1999, something like that?
It was during El Nino.
Okay. And I remember that I always felt it was an odd thing that REO had toured with literally every other band on the planet except STYX. We had never done a show with STYX, and we're from the same area, so I never quite understood it. So you and I got to talking about it, and then if you remember, we went out to see Craig. We took Jeannie and Lisa out to see Craig, and we just started talking about it. Next thing we knew, Charlie and Tommy got together and booked a one-off show for REO STYX in Duluth, Minnesota, just to kind of see if the chemistry would work, see how it would work out, right? So we were up on stage doing our sound check when you guys walked into the building, and we were having a particularly good sound check that day. Like we were rocking, and I remember kind of thinking, this is cool that we're just playing, we're rocking. You know, when you guys walk in, I saw you and JY. And then we kind of met backstage, and I talked to Gary Loizo, my old friend, and then you guys came out and did a sound check, because I had never heard you guys with the new lineup with Lawrence and everybody and Todd on drums, and you guys came out and your sound check was rocking. I was like, fucking A, man, STYX is back to being a rock and roll band, and I was like, this is gonna work. I just felt it right after that sound check, and
Yeah,
you know,
and that was a whole really extensive discovery about you guys too, of just how great the band was and how much we loved the music, and we kind of never looked back since then.
we never did, man. I know. There've been so many. I mean, just the fact that, I mean, the another thing that stands out to me is that the time we did the Today Show, we were in the middle of a tour. I remember we had to charter like 3 airplanes to get both bands and all the crew. We played a show like in Virginia Beach, got on airplanes, flew to New York City, went directly to like a 4 a.m. sound check. You know, we both bands set up, played a song on the Today Show, got to Jones Beach, and played a show that night. I mean, it just that's like impossible for one band to do. But the fact that REO and STYX could do it together, there was just this immediate kind of camaraderie that we all felt for you guys. Our crew all felt for your crew. It was just pretty.
Yeah, I remember mostly the fun we were having backstage, because we were all just kind of punch drunk, trying to wake up. You know, like, some of us might not have even gone to sleep, but there we were. And it's, you've gone from the high of a gig, and you come down from it, and now you brag up for a gig.
Right.
Up there singing all those things that you don't usually do till long after you've had your first cup of coffee. But
right.
Something about, that's the great thing about performing. It gives you these superpowers that, where did that come from? Especially that hour.
I know, and I think it was that gig that and it might have been your idea, but somehow we thought, well, if we can pull this off, we can pull anything off. And that's when we decided, I think, to do the double live album with both bands. And
Right.
That was another one, where it's hard enough to record one band live for a live album, but somehow we managed to record both of us on the same night, with you coming out and singing with us, me coming out and singing with you, and we.
The one where it was like 95 degrees out in this.
Yes.
Perfect singing weather, by the way.
Right. It's St. Louis, man. Just humid as can be.
Not the greatest for close-up photos, but
Right.
But yeah, man, it was a great thing, and we called it Arch Allies.
The arch, yeah.
Well, everybody thought we were arch enemies.
Right.
Because we competed on the charts, but we weren't. We were always
Right.
happy with each other,
I know. See, that's the way I look at it too. I mean, people ask that question, and whether it's you guys or or Def Leppard, any of our buddies, when any of my friends do something and they have a big record or a big tour, but like when I heard about Def Leppard doing this stadium tour, I was like, that's awesome. What an amazing thing to pull off. And what's good for one of us is good for all of us, is the way I look at it.
Yeah, and we've all had the chance to spend time on the road with each other, and you're all kind of drinking out of the same cup. No, not literally. You're all going through the same things, and you're all just trying to suit up and be your best and have a great show. And like you said, what's good for one is good for the whole thing.
Yeah.
You want everybody to be great.
Yeah. Well, and I want to, just for the fans that are watching, just last week, and this will tell you something about Tommy Shaw. We did REO Speedwagon got this gig with Ozark where they did a whole episode that was kind of, you know, based around one of our songs, and we appeared in the episode. It was a great thing. You know, since that happened, a bunch of our songs got back on the charts. It's this crazy thing, and it's interesting to me the reactions that people have. And I don't know if you even remember, Tommy, but you sent me a text, and what it was like, congratulations, how cool that was. But you said something. You said, I was really happy to see the respect that Ozark showed to REO Speedwagon during that show. And it made, at first I was like, wait, I didn't quite understand that. And then I thought to myself, yeah, they did, man. They shouted us out so many times. They treated us great. They were above and beyond the call of duty. And it really was a show of respect. And I really appreciated that text from you because it was so congratulatory. And I got texts from a few other performers and friends of mine, you know, and you know, just a great feeling that, but your text stood out to me, and I appreciate it.
Well, I loved it, especially when they referred to you as the wagon. You know, really, that's about as deep down respectful as, you know, when they love you so much that you can just mention part of your name and they're like, oh, fuck yeah, man, fuck the wagon. Yeah, they would do that. They were, these guys are awesome. You know, it was so well done, and you guys looked like they lit you, and the way they produced that segment, you guys looked so good, sounded great.
Yeah, it was pretty fun.
Footnote, I mean, you guys were an integral part of the story. Laura Linney's singing that song going down the road, and it had so much meaning. I mean, it was like it was written for that you know, that story.
Yeah.
That's the music really being well placed.
Yeah, it worked out great. And I can tell you this, that our experience of the taping was like just a beautiful experience. And you know how it is in an organization. If all the people who are, you know, greeting you at the door, you know, the caterers, the grips, everybody, it kind of starts at the top, you know, and that show is really kind of Jason Bateman and Laura Linney's baby. And Jason is like the sweetest guy. So Laura Linney, check this out. So my wife Lisa's mother passed away a few years ago from cancer. And right at that time, Laura Linney was a star of that HBO show, The Big C, which was all about dealing with cancer. So Lisa, my wife, heard about that show and watched it, and it literally helped her deal with the situation she was going through with her mom. And Lisa asked me to thank Laura Linney. So Laura wasn't on set this particular day. So I was talking to the makeup person about it. So she goes and finds an assistant who works with Laura, tells her the story. This assistant calls Laura Linney at home. Laura Linney calls back and tells her to give me the message to tell my wife, thank you so much for sharing that. Because you know, when your music, or if you're an actress, your acting helps someone through a tough period in their life. It's like, you know, we write songs to make people dance and have fun, but every once in a while you hear about a song you've written and someone tells you the story of how it helped them through, you know, a difficult period. And those are always the stories that I just take a step back and go, man, you know, who would ever guessed, you know?
You write these songs in a room a lot of times by yourself, and I don't know about you. Whenever I'm doing that by myself, I'm like, does this suck, or is this good? I can't tell if it's good or not. And then you start playing it with somebody that you're going to be, that you work with, or a co-writer or something like that, and then they kind of give you the feedback. But you never know whether anyone's, first of all, ever going to hear it,
right?
Much less how that it would speak to them in some sort of way that affected them in a positive way. And to this day, you know, I grown up people you know, they have, I have certain songs that had that meaning for them back at a time in their life where they were looking for something to, you know, to grasp onto. And it to this day, I think about it, when that song was being written, how insecure I was about it. You know, will I even play this for anybody? You know?
I know you never know when you I mean, no one knows your songs better than you because you were there when it was happening, and you never know what kind of a journey a song is going to take you on. It might never leave that room, but then every
Yeah.
once in a while you get one that just takes you on you know, we each are blessed to have songs that have taken us on these amazing journeys that both of us have been on, and that both of us have shared by, you know, during the gigs where our bands play together. And you know, of all the bands we tour with, and at this point in my life, I'm not interested in touring with a band that's going to be paranoid or a pain in my ass or something. If we're going to spend, you know, the better part of 6 months together, it's got to make sense on stage, but it's also got to make sense backstage. And you know, when REO,
Backstage is your house. You want all the doors in the house to be open. I want
right,
to go in this room, and there's not going to be some crazy uncle in there who hates my guts. Which
right,
you know, you want to feel, because you know our dressing room to you guys, it's like a lot of times if you were just walking by, you wouldn't. Whose dressing room is that? There's fans in it, and you know, that's just the way it's always been. And those are my favorite tours, when the doors are open to everybody.
yeah, I agree. Except there was one time when our doors were open to everyone. It was in the maybe a week into the first tour we did together, and we didn't really know Lawrence very well, you know. So Lawrence happened to be wearing a kilt on this particular day, and he came into our dressing room and said hello. And I'll put it this way: we got to know Lawrence intimately that day.
I know his repertoire for that. Paul Rogers got a much more shocking one. Did you ever see
Really?
Silence of the did you ever see Silence of the Lambs?
No, I didn't see. Lawrence kind of showed us his feminine side, if you know, if you know what I mean. But what's the Silence of the Lambs? I missed that.
There was a scene in the end where the guy he was this diabolical guy. He was doing these terrible things to take the flesh of women to put them on himself.
Right. Yeah.
And he did this tuck, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So that he looked kind of like a woman. And so Lawrence would do that with the bathrobe on, and he went into Paul Rogers' dressing room and did that
Right.
like that with the tuck going on. And needless to say, I think Paul was speechless.
Yeah, there was a tuck involved in the kilt episode as well. It was we
He's quite a tucker, that guy.
He is a tucker. He is one of my favorite. Lawrence is one of my favorite people on the planet. I mean, every time one of the great things about touring with you guys is bumping into Lawrence in catering or backstage somewhere, because he's got the quickest wit of. I mean, well, he's kind of up there with Neil. Maybe it's a keyboard player thing, you know, because Neil has kind of got that thing too, where it's like, you know, it's almost like he wrote it before he got there, but it's like he didn't, you know.
Yeah, they're both great hangs.
Yeah, exactly.
I miss you guys, man. When are we going to see you?
I know.
Well, when are we going to see anyone?
I know. Well, we were supposed to see you guys. I mean, I think we had like a few big shows, REO STYX shows booked for this year. And right now on our calendar, the first show we have that hasn't been, you know, rescheduled or moved is a show with you guys. And man, I'm praying that it happens, but you know, we just have to wait and see. I think, you know, everybody is everybody wants to get back to normal. It's just, it's human nature. You want to go out and for us, you want to go out and play. You want to get out there on stage and do your thing. But, I think that, we just have to, everybody has to be patient. I think we have to really be sure, that it's safe to start getting out of the social distancing and stay at home things. If we break it down too soon, I think we're going to really regret it. And it's as hard as it is, as far as I'm concerned, man, I'm waiting. I don't want to put our fans in jeopardy. I don't want to put our bands in jeopardy. I think we got to wait till the time is right, and the time will be right. It's going to happen. We just got to make sure that we don't jump the gun. At least that's how I feel about it.
There's so much information out there that it has to be extrapolated, because doctors and hospitals are having their own experiences, and some of them are things that don't line up with what you hear on the news, and some of it in a better way.
Right.
And so I think eventually all this is going to come together, and when the people who are really trying to settle it based on fact and research and experiences and things like that, I think then it's going to be a lot easier on people's minds to go, okay, that all makes sense, and I'm willing to step into it based on what I'm hearing there. And I just think we just have to try and stick to the facts and give things time to play out.
Yeah, I agree.
Shame that a lot of people are going to be sick and may not make it through that. That's the awful part about it.
Right. I know. Well, in the meantime, let's do this more often, Tommy. It's good to see you. It's just good to connect, and hey, everyone's got to do their part, in this thing. And there's so many people, frontline workers, as we talked about earlier, and essential workers. I mean, people that work at banks, people that work for the electric company, and people that are out there doing their thing. For us, since we're so, our world has been just put to a halt. So we have to get creative, figure out things we can do so that we can keep in contact with each other, with our fans, and this is kind of a cool thing, that this is what we got to do. We got to just.
This is a test of our humanity, and so I encourage people when they do come across someone who has gone to work to prepare food for them and maybe handing it to you outside with a bag. If you're ever going to be a generous tipper, if you could think of your tip based on the fact that these people came from home to bring you food to help their business stay in business, and they're counting on you to be safe with them. And to me, this is how they're trying to pay their bills, and it's a great time to show your gratitude with a little bit of a bigger tip, or at least an appreciation for the fact that
right.
You. And when you're in the grocery store, put a mask on, because it's a confined space. I know I had one on a while ago. It's not comfortable or fun, but when you're in a space like that, people are waiting to go to the grocery store and hoping it'll be safe. So why make it uncomfortable for anybody by invading that space, especially without a mask? It's people need to be able to feel safe going into the grocery stores, and the people who show up to bring you those groceries, they're not cops, they're not bouncers. All they can do is ask you to please observe that. So just try and be sensitive to that, and just be thoughtful of your fellow man.
Yeah, I agree, man. I go out of my way at the grocery store to really express my gratitude to every single person that's working there. And it's funny because when I do that, there's always somebody who says, yeah, there was this guy that just came through, and we didn't have the brand of ketchup that he wanted, and so he kind of bawled me out, and so there are those kind of folks that they're angry, they're frustrated because of the whole situation, and they decide to take it out on someone that's, basically putting their health at risk to work at a grocery store. So there, those of us who kind of see this in the way that you're talking about, Tommy, as how important it is to show your appreciation in whatever way you can based on the situation. I've seen it. I've seen people working at the checkout stand in grocery stores. I've seen literally their face lights up. You can see their vibe just by saying how much I appreciate you, to them. You just see them. They stand up a little straighter. They look a little better, and they need this. They need that to be, because they're without them we ain't eating. So it's like,
and it's tough on everybody. Every day that goes by, you kind of have to figure out how am I going to be today, because there is so much anxiety right there for the picking.
Yeah.
Don't gird yourself against it. I personally have to keep doing things to ward it off, because I'm a sensitive person. It gets on me. I have these thoughts of, am I going to die? Is this going to kill me? But I have to think, okay, I'm doing everything possible to try and stay healthy, and I am healthy, to maintain that health. But everybody is going through it, and you kind of at the same time need to give them a break if they lose it a little bit, and just hope they can get over it, and we can all calm down and get through it.
Yeah, I know. Every night, as Lisa and I are just going to sleep, that's when it kind of hits me, and it's just like, wow, this is really happening. It's like, it's hard to take in the enormity of this. The fact that it's the entire planet. Usually there's some place you can go. It's like, okay, well, it's really cold out in Chicago. Oh, I'll go to Florida. It's nice down there. It's like, there's nowhere to go. We gotta stay put, and just, I feel like people's love is coming out. Like, we're fortunate that all three of our children live in LA. Our daughter Holly works for CAA. She's working remotely out of the office. Josh and Shane are upstairs. They got their own little kind of room up there, and they take their college courses up there. But we try to have dinner around the dinner table as many nights as we can. And it's been a few years since we've been able to do that, because the kids are away from home. So we've really been, we went around the kitchen table last night. Holly had the idea, okay, let's go around and everybody tell, so it's 4 people are going to pick one person, and the hot seat's going to move all the way around the table. We're going to tell you the thing that we all think you can work on to better yourself, and a thing about you that we appreciate and love. And we went around the table. It took about 2 hours, and it's like, wow, we wouldn't have done that probably if it wasn't for these present circumstances. Mm-hmm. And so there is good to be found. It's just, whenever I say that, then I think of, God, the people that are sick right now. The people that are out of a job. We're fortunate that the 5 of us are healthy here. And that's the thing. So everyone's got to do their best, like you say, Tommy, to stay healthy yourself, and in doing that, we're protecting everyone else. So it's all of our responsibility, because when we take care of ourselves, we're taking care of others at the same time. So I think that's the message,